Hello, everyone. Just picking up on this. I'm just starting my stream. Let's see if I can get a copy of the live link. So, the whole point of this video is I was on Discord and we were messing around with some people. And copy link address. I figured I'd go live and tell people about the red button, what it really does. Like, okay. So, we are here. Don't know if anyone's going to be watching. Let's see. Minute and 12 seconds. I just dropped a link in there to find out about this infamous red button and what it does. So let's take a look for anyone who is going to be watching this video. We're going to the FOMO 3D site, or we're trying to. It goes nice and slow when I'm live streaming. And I know I haven't done videos in a while. Several people have been asking. I've been busy doing some side projects. So here's FOMO. Blam! And it's adding up. Now, we're going to take a look at the contract. Because this is how I trace down the red button and what the red button is doing. So I'm going to go through each of the steps for you. And I have no idea if anyone is watching or if anyone's posting comments. Let's take a look. It says just about no one's. Hey, a couple people are watching. What's up, everybody? So this is the big red button video. In a minute, I'll check the messages. But first, let's show you what this FOMO contract is doing. And we're going to look at internal transactions. And what we're going to see is with every transaction that somebody sends, this all, if you look right here, this is all the same transaction ID. It's sending some of the ether out in different directions, okay? And one of those directions is the big red button. Let's head over there and take a look. Do not press the big red button. Here is the actual link for people saying, where is the link to the big red button? And we're going to actually look at the big red button contract and some of the big red button transactions so you can see what's happening. Usually it shows a balance up here, but this is the big red button page. When I interact with these contracts, I do it directly from the contract. I usually don't use the page. So let me show you how we're going to do that. And I have it bookmarked here. Here's the actual contract for the big red button. It's currently got, hey, a good little amount in it. Quarter of an ether. And you look at these internal transactions. People are constantly, first thing I noticed this morning is people constantly sending transactions here, right? I said, why? What's the point? And I started looking at the code. I don't really want to go through all this code because it's going to take a little while. And a lot of it isn't really important. But the idea is the FOMO contract is sending a little bit of money to P3D, and we can't link it directly to just give divs. So the only way to give those P3D divs is this contract makes a P3D purchase and then instantly sells it. And I'll show you an example here. We could look at any one of these. These are past transactions of people that have sent them. And we're going to look at this event log to see what happened. And that is a bad example. Let's try going back. Internal transactions. Holy cow. Well, let's do it by example, right? I'm just going to go ahead and log in here. And we are going to send a big red button command to it. A 1%. Always send 1%, okay? It says 1 to 99%. It's not. It's not. You don't get anything extra for putting 50% or 100% or 99%. All you're doing is draining the contract. And you don't want to drain the contract. But I'm about to press the big red button. Got a little bit there. So we're going to go 1%. Connect with MetaMask. This is Etherscan's way of letting you interact directly with the contract. We're going to go ahead and write. This distribute command is the same as pressing the big red button. I don't know if it will let me press it because there's a ticker on it. You could only do, once you press it, you have to wait 100 turns before you can press it again, or at least an hour. There is a timer. So now that I did this, what it's going to do is when this transaction finally, and I should bump up the gas a little bit because there's a good little amount of ether. But when this transaction finally posts, it's going to send the balance, the 0.29 ether, over to the P3D contract. And then it's going to do a sell at the same time and get it back. So it's going to suck it by 10% for the buy and 10% for the sell. And that's going to pay P3D holders for just for holding P3D. But for pushing the button, you get something. And what you get is the referral. Here, let me show you over here. This will be a great proof of weekends 3D. Here's my personal stats for P3D, which I don't mind sharing. I've pushed this button twice in the past day, and you're about to see over here what happens. Let's just highlight it. And right here is what's happening. This is when I pushed it once. This is the second time. As it sent the money over to the P3D contract to distribute, whoever pressed the button gets the master node referral for that one loop. Okay. Now I've tried this both ways. I tried it pushing it with 50% and with 1% to see what it does. 50% just keeps looping the contract, but it doesn't give you the master node referral. Only the first time. That's important. You're wasting it if you push more than 1%. What you're getting, look, this is ether that I've received for pressing the button, 0.0124. That was my payment for pressing the button. So that's the trick of the button. And that's why everyone's saying, don't press the button, right? Because They don't want you to. I wouldn't want you to. If you look at my comments on Discord, even I was telling you, don't press the button. For the love of God, don't press the button. Because that's the last thing I want you to do. I want this to build up so I could press the button, right? But it's free money. It's free ether. And there's not many of you. Oh, man, it's just getting higher and higher. 0.37. That's a good little commission. So what I'm going to do is push up my gas to see if I can get in there before, because a lot of times what you'll see is 5 or 10 transactions all at the same time trying to post to catch these big reefers. They're not very big, but they're bigger than the gas. Oh man, and it's slow as hell. Too wee. No wonder it's taking forever. But I want it to get through now. That 0.37, so I'm pushing it up. Let's go 6. Because I want that button pushed. Let's see if there's any chat. 21 people. Hey, I think that's the highest live stream tally I've ever had. And I know I don't do many live streams. Turn off stream now. Oh man, I'm gonna make it worse. Is there a stream now button? I don't know what you mean. Let's go back and see if it pushed my transaction through. Somebody went through. I went through. And let's see what I got. I try not to hold things back. I know there's some secrets that we would prefer to keep secret. It doesn't look like mine went through. I think this is because I pushed it earlier. Yeah, it doesn't look like mine went through. Cost me gas. This is for being greedy, right? I tried to press it too quickly. Let's check this guy right behind me. Hopefully this is one of you watching. This guy went through. You can see here on the very first token purchase to the P3D contract, the second bit, the second topic. Not the second. Here we go. Topic 2, referred by. Topic 2. This is the referred by address right here. This is going to be 06134. Let's see if that's the guy who sent it, which it is. 06134. See, so he just got a refer. So I wasn't going to tell people how this worked, but if you look like at my stats, I got to enjoy a lot of referrals early on, and it really made a difference. And I imagine it would make a difference for you guys to be able to put one or two or three on there. See right here, blam, from the very beginning. I invested almost nothing in the P3D. I was just early, and refers pushed me all the way up here, all these master nodes. So now it's time for you to get those master nodes, and all you got to do is press the red button. Blam. And you think this is big, just wait until the contract ends, right? Whenever this FOMO contract ends, there's going to be a huge dump into this contract, into the red button contract, especially if a Team Snake gets it. But just about any team, And this is going to be, there's going to be a race. Not only is there going to be a race to be the last person holding the FOMO key, there's going to be a race to press this button. So keep that in mind, bookmark it. I don't know if I'm going to keep this video live or on forever. I may delete it. I may just let you guys that have watched this learn the trick. But it's there. And let's see if there's any questions. Keep saying devs push masternode requirements up to stop people from pushing it. Well, I don't think the devs would push the masternode requirement up, but let's check if they did. How do we check that, right? That's a good question. Well, you would go to Etherscan, you find the P3D contract, and you're just simply going to say read contract. And this is going to give us the status of some of the what it used to be. That's odd. If they did push it up, I would say that's a mistake on their behalf. Anything that slows down people's excitement for the contract, anything that slows down the ability for the little guy to get ahead is a bad move, okay? There's a lot of big whales in this contract, but there's definitely more little fish than big whales. So if that was pushed up, I would petition them to put it back down, because we don't need to help the whales. We need to help the little fish, all right? I could easily come into this contract as a whale, but I'm not, and I won't. Every contract that I do, all my videos, if you ever watch my videos, I always show from the little fish perspective on how you can start with almost nothing and build it. So that's going to kind of suck if they change the requirement. Let's see. Damn it. I need to pop these out. They pushed it to 100. Yeah, they'll put it back. If you go in there and tell them, put it back, they'll put it back. I see no reason for pushing it to 100. Other than it'll let it grow. But still, 100 seems quite high. Quite high for that. Well, shit, I got 25 people here. Anything else you guys want to know about? We could talk about some of the code, talk about some of the projects, talk about, let's see, I'll show you where my standings are. I have 661 keys. Not that many. Not that many at all. This is to represent a normal person going into this. I think I didn't invest that much, maybe 0.15 when I started. And I've just sort of been, my strategy is to keep buying keys for now, because I do not see this contract ending. I personally think the math was messed up. The price does not increase enough. And I just don't see a world where someone's going to let a multi-million-dollar payout slip away over even $50 or $100 for a ticket. They're going to pay that. They're going to keep paying that. Now, if we lock up a bunch of ETH, we could drive the price of ETH up, but man, that's a long shot. P3D divs. I can't believe they would change the staking requirement. That's screwing a lot of people if that's what they did. Because look, this is all I got, 27.75. Not that much P3D. So I can't even pull it. Let's check our comments. Let's see. How do we get this shit to pop out? Yeah. Excuse me while I drag my screen around. Try and make it a little more chat accessible so I could see what the hell you guys are talking about. Lamb. Lots of people here. If you are here, please subscribe. I know I don't do live videos too often, but I probably would if you guys had questions, if you guys wanted to. It says I take my divs and get P3D. Originally, that's what I was doing. I was taking my divs out of the long con and putting them into P3D. But what I found was that with the same amount invested in P3D and the same amount in the long con, I was actually getting divs faster in the FOMO 3D. So I kind of slowed that down. Although, this is an important point to notice, right? The P3D contract is growing faster than the FOMO contract. Okay? This FOMO contract hasn't even hit 1,000 ETH. P3D is bumped up like 2,500 since FOMO started. So there's definitely something to that. I'll be right back. Got someone knocking on the door. Got some visitors. You guys know that there will be a second contract with 90-second rounds, right? The short contract, I think they should have launched that first, in my opinion. Because I don't see an end to this big long contract. I really don't. Well, I mean, it could happen, but damn, is it unlikely. I mean, what would make you stop? You guys are in the chat. What would honestly make you stop buying keys? I haven't figured it out. If I have the money, and it's the only thing I can figure is I'm out of money, or I'm out of ether, or that's the only thing I could figure. Because I can't picture a scenario where it costs too much money. At 420,000, hey, FOMO's getting high today, right? 423,000. I didn't play any of the practice rounds. I was in and out of the Discord, and every time they had one of these test rounds come up, I never actually took part in it. So there were little things I didn't know, even now. But I keep showing people. So what would we like to see in the next one? This is a good question. I've heard a couple people call for a lottery type payout where your keys are used for a second pool payout, maybe not half the pot, but 10% of the pot, something big where you stood a chance of hitting a big jackpot. I've heard that. you bring any good chronic? He wants to get some. Okay, it's chronic time. I will be back later. If you guys like, we can go live and talk about this some more. But that was the secret to the big red button. Is it gives you a reefer, and it kind of sucks that they would jump and change that to something that only they can do. If you guys jump on Discord and you give them hell, they'll change it back. Trust me, they'll change it back. Because the good publicity and the making people happy is worth way more than they could gain by increasing it and then only getting the divs out themselves. But yeah, that's just sad if they changed it. I'll contact them personally and make a plea to try and bring this back. I mean, I have talked with every one of the devs, and in my opinion, every one of them are good people, and every one of them are looking for what's best for the community. You know what I mean? This was my impression. I didn't get greed from any of the devs in this project. I've worked with devs on a lot of projects, and a lot of them I do not like where they came from. Good solidity programmers. Okay, every day I go to just Etherscan and I flip through all these verify contracts. They may not have no ether, or it may not be enough ether to where I feel like exposing their weakness. But for all these dumb people out here, I could say that P3D is smart, dude. They are very smart. All right.